Hello, folks, it's me. And we all know the MCU. Its interconnectivity was what made it successful. But there's no denying that it had received its fair share of criticism over the years, despite its success. It has received some criticisms, most of which I would agree with, others I wouldn't necessarily agree with. But most I would agree. However, there is one piece of criticism that has been there since Phase 2. And that was how they used Ultron. Ultron wasn't bad by any means, but the issue I feel like was that he was a one-off character when he is a bigger villain in the comics and is set to return in the Vision show. But this hasn't made me wonder since the Black Lion did a video on this. What if Ultron was the main villain of the first MCU saga? Okay, obviously Thanos would need to be taken out and replaced with Ultron in this case. Let's dive in, shall we? We start things off with Phase 1. Iron Man. That movie would not change at all. Nothing changes. Then there's the Incredible Hulk. Like Iron Man, that would not change. But then we get to Ant-Man. Not Iron Man 2, Ant-Man. Which was planned to be a part of Phase 1, but just didn't because Edgar Wright was working on other things at this point in time. But we would get Ant-Man this timeline as the third movie in Phase 1 and not, Iron Man 2. That's been delayed to Phase 2, like what was supposed to happen. Now, rather than this being Scott Lang, this would be Hank Pym, because he was Ultron's creator in the comics. The villains would be Egghead and Whirlwind. And of course, Janet Van Dyne would appear, and this movie would take place in the 2000s, with an after credits scene taking place in present day where they are now married and they are met by Nick Fury. Next movie is Thor. Same movie. I also forgot to mention that in Ant-Man, Ultron would be set up as like a creation. Next movie is Captain America: The First Avenger. Same movie except Wolverine would make a small cameo because there were plans to include him, but because of Fox owning the X-Men at that time, they couldn't do it. But Wolverine's appearing so the X-Men can be the secondary team replacing the Guardians of the Galaxy, because Ultron is now one of their villains in the comics, so I want to maintain some accuracy. Now we move on to Avengers. It's mostly the same movie, except the team is like how it is in the Ultimate Comics, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, or Hulk, Ant-Man, the Wasp. And yeah, Black Widow gets a sideline role. She's more of a cameo to set up Iron Man 2. And the after credits scene would focus on Hank in his lab, continuing to create Ultron. The first steps would be showing Ant-Man, where he's like a computer chip that spells Ultron, but in this one, it would be Hank getting Ultron activated, but not yet building a body. He would obviously need the help of Tony Stark. like in next Avengers Heroes of Tomorrow. So that's what if Ultron was the villain of the first MCU saga. Anyways, I'll see you all in Phase 2.